Takuma is a lonely gamer who plays Diablo, the true demon lord, in an MMORPG. He is accidentally summoned as his MMO character into an alternate world, and his summoners are an elf girl and a cat girl who kiss him on the cheeks. They're arguing about who summoned him, but Diablo notices he's in the middle of his MMORPG game, Cross Reverie. He orders the girls to shake hands in his demonic voice, and they comply. He fastens a chain around their necks, and they are now his slaves. They walk away from the tower together, and the girls are disappointed that the ritual failed. Diablo realizes it is due to his demon lord ring, which enabled him to reflect their enslavement spell onto them instead. He tells them that no magical abilities will affect him because he can reflect them. They travel into town to see if the magical powers can be removed. On their way, the elf girl and the cat girl introduce themselves to Diablo. Shira L. Greenwood is the author, and Rem Galu is the cat girl. Diablo is referred to as a rare summon creature, but Diablo refers to himself as a demon lord. Shira is impressed because she managed to summon a demon lord. They arrive at the inn and are greeted by the innkeeper. They argue about who will share Diablo's room because they can't afford 3 rooms. They continue to fight, but the innkeeper forces them all to share a single bed in the same room with him. Diablo recognizes Seals as the head of the Maids Association as she enters the room. She notices the slave collars on the 2 girls and is perplexed as to how this happened. They explain to her how they were unable to summon Diablo and are now stuck with these collars. Diablo demands to know what her business is, and a man enters dressed as a knight in shining armor. Diablo, on the other hand, strikes fear into his bones, and the man flees like a coward. Seals walks away, and Diablo inquires about Rem's relationship with Seals. Rem refuses to tell him anything, but Diablo recognizes that this could be a story event that leads to disaster later on, so he takes her back into his room to torture her. Diablo tortures her by tickling her cat ears and grabbing her tail until Rem's handle snaps. He checks to make sure she's okay before learning about the secret she's keeping. She reveals that the demon lord Krebscombe has been sealed within her body, and Diablo recalls that this demon lord was the game's most powerful boss. She tells him that all she wants is to free and expel this demon lord from her body, as he has caused her great sadness and loneliness. Diablo informs her that he believes this will kill Rem, and she discovers the true reason she knows Seals. Rather than abandoning her, Diablo promises to assist Rem and to never leave her side. Rem becomes emotional, and she believes she can finally trust someone. Diablo goes for a walk around town, reflecting on his day, as he is used to being alone. He is approached by the same person who was following Seals and is prepared to fight him. He summons a level 30 giant red salamander with his power. This is a terrifying boss who has the potential to destroy the city. Diablo, on the other hand, realizes that it is far below his level and will not cause any problems. The salamander hurls a fiery blaze at Diablo, but our overpowered protagonist remains unharmed. The mage instructs the dragon to summon another fiery attack against Diablo, but it does nothing because he is level 150. He draws his wand and fires a single explosion, destroying the salamander in its place. The mage inquires about Diablo, who claims to be the true demon lord from another world. When he wakes up the next day, he discovers a plot next to him and decides to develop it. He can't stop himself, so he keeps working on the plot. They go to the Adventurers Guild to determine their level and to begin questing. When they go to sign a contract, Shira informs him that she needs his blood stamp to complete the approval. He somehow manages to bleed everywhere. Shira examines herself in the mirror to determine her level, and she discovers that she is only level 30, which disappoints her. Diablo follows, and the mirror begins to overflow with energy, causing chaos. The guild master enters the room and invites them to her office. She informs them that she has never seen anything like this before and will most likely be unable to offer Diablo any quests that will suit him. Diablo, on the other hand, will still join because all he cares about is obtaining rewards so he can continue living with the girls. The guild master assigns them the task of killing a giant snake hidden in the woods. They are ambushed by a group of elves on their way there, and Diablo casts burst rain to set the woods on fire and lure out the people who are ambushing them. The elves have arrived to take Shira with them, but she refuses because she does not want to marry her brother and bear his child. They all point their bows at Diablo, but they're useless. Their leader appears and prepares a magical blow, but it has no effect on Diablo. Diablo becomes enraged and casts Freesia, freezing the entire field in ice. Seals' follower reappears, but is defeated by Diablo and Rem. Shira informs the elves that she will not return and that they should leave her alone. That night, Shira decides she wants to give our man a special reward. Rem, on the other hand, intervenes. Diablo returns to the guild master's office, where she assigns them a special request made just for Diablo. Seals made this request, and they believe she may be responsible for the recent attacks. Rem refuses to accept it because she cares about Seals and does not believe she is a bad person. Diablo tells her that she is not required to oppose her and that he will never force her to do anything she does not want to do. Rem has agreed to stay behind. As they leave the guild, a true knight in shining armor, Emil, appears and confronts Diablo. He is not only a level 50 warrior, but also a female ally. He has come to save Rem and Shira from the demon lord who has enslaved them. They try to explain it as a mistake, but Diablo is too excited. Emil attacks Diablo with sword smite, but he deflects the blow with his wand. Emil tries to use another sword skill called Alp's Fall, but is knocked out before he can use it. Emil, on the other hand, attempts to attack Diablo once more, but Shira and Rem stop him and explain the situation. Emil apologizes for his actions and promises to become friends with them. He reintroduces himself and assures him that he will always be there for them. Shira suggests they bathe in the river as they walk towards the bridge because there hasn't been enough plot development in a while. But Diablo refuses. When they arrive at the bridge, they are informed that a large army of demons is on their way. One of the soldiers is terrified of death, but Diablo assures him that he will protect them. Shira suspects they're here to resurrect Krebskolm, and Diablo suspects they're after Rem. Meanwhile, Seals informs Rem that she has fired her insubordinate servants as a result of his actions, and she questions her about Diablo. Rem tries to defend Diablo, telling her what a wonderful person he is. The guy comes in again, and this guy just won't leave. He pulls out a dagger and prepares to stab himself. Rem tries to stop him, but it's too late, and he transforms into a massive beast. Simultaneously, demons approach the castle. When a giant goblin approaches Diablo, Diablo simply punches him away. Edelgard, the demon's leader, appears and the two fight. Rem and Seals try to flee outside the inn, but they are unable to escape the beast. Rem summons her own monster, but it is quickly destroyed. Emil, their last hope, arrives and attempts to fight the goblin. He is vulnerable to it, but he fights on and never gives up because he is the protector of all women. Diablo continues to fight Edelgard, attempting to demonstrate that his powers are ineffective against him. The sacrifice charge is used by Edelgard against Diablo, but it is ineffective against him. Diablo realizes he can take advantage of this by demoralizing the enemy. However, this is the first time Diablo has been injured. He casts a powerful magic spell and warns Edelgard that if he does not leave, he will destroy the entire field. Diablo casts his White Nova after she foolishly rejects his offer. The entire field is annihilated. The demon army vanishes, but Edelgard has managed to survive. Diablo realizes Rem is in danger and casts Return to teleport back to town. Emil is defeated and about to die when Diablo appears and sends Gregor flying backwards. He expresses gratitude to Emil for his efforts and assures him that he will protect everyone. Gregory fires a dark bullet, but the spell is immediately reflected back at him by Diablo's ring. The stupid goblin hasn't learned anything yet, so he casts Dark Press, but it is reflected back at him, and Diablo amplifies it. He tells him he will not show him mercy because he has killed many people on this field. He summons a black hole, sucking the goblin into the void. Rem rushes over to thank Diablo. Diablo promises to always protect his slave because it is his property. Seals realizes that there may, after all, be a good demon lord. Shira is frustrated because she hasn't been able to develop a plot in a long time, so she dresses up in a bikini and leaps onto our devil lord. Rem barges in and yells at her, and the two of them make Diablo forget everything. However, the guild master interrupts Diablo's plans by telling him that they must hand over Shira to the elves or face war. The lord of the city requests that Diablo avert this war. Shira is shocked that this is going to happen, and she asks Diablo if he will accept the quest to prevent the war from occurring. Diablo wishes to decline this quest because it involves waging a war. However, the guild master reveals that Shira's brother has placed a large bounty on her head, which enrages Diablo. He tells her that he will accept the quest and meet with the city's lord. They enter the lord's manor and are told everything the guild master knows about the lord. When they arrive, they are introduced to the lord, who is a cold and vicious man. The guild master introduces the party to the city's leader, and they decide to introduce themselves as well. The city's leader introduces himself, and Diablo is nervous because he has no idea how to best introduce himself. He struggles to strike a balance between his demon lord persona and his humble persona. The city's leader informs him that he has heard Diablo is a demon lord from another world, to which Diablo responds, "Should I reduce you to ashes to prove it?" What a shambles. All of the girls are terrified, but the city's leader dismisses it as a joke. He tells them about the possible war that will result from using the map, and how they can avoid it by handing over Shira. He asks Shira why she doesn't want the life of luxury that could be hers, and she tells him that she wants to discover her own worth on her own, and that she will never find it anywhere else. Diablo claims that while freedom is difficult to achieve, it is one of the most worthy goals that should be pursued. When the leader realizes what is going on, he introduces them to Alicia Cristella. She is their most powerful Imperial Knight, and she will be assisting them. She introduces herself and hands the guild master a bag of gold as compensation for her inability to assist in the previous battle. Alicia converses with Shira and shares a bonding moment with her because she understands how Shira feels. Diablo is envious of Alicia's ability to socialize so well. Alicia expresses her gratitude to him for defending the people against the goblins. Diablo is irritated by this, but realizes he should avoid speaking with her before she discovers his plan. He demands that she never speak frivolously to him again, and Alicia promises to comply. They proceed to a weaponsmith, and Diablo wishes to obtain a weapon that will allow him to deal with opponents more effectively. He buys a scythe, and Rem comments on how large and long it is. Diggity. They are ambushed as they walk away to buy potions, and bounty hunters kidnap Shira. More of them try to ambush him, but Rem and Alicia stop them. Diablo runs at breakneck speed to catch up to his opponents, while Alicia and Emil appear to corner and destroy them. Emil learns about the bounty placed on Shira and is asked what he intends to do about it. Emil chants, as he always does, that he will be the protector of all women and will defend Shira. He walks away, and Alicia apologizes for allowing this to happen and promises that it will not happen again. Diablo tells her that she shouldn't be so hard on herself and that she should instead be more compassionate to herself. She doesn't know how to take advice. They go to a cafe because Alicia is hungry. Seals pays them a visit at the cafe and informs them that she has discovered a way for Diablo to remove Rem and Shira's slave collars. She leads them to a cavern containing a slave merchant. The owner greets the group, believing Diablo is trying to sell his slaves. Diablo yells at her for being incorrect, but she notices an enormous amount of energy flowing from his body. Shira also claims to be able to see Diablo's body, which surprises Rem and Alicia. The slave owner notices Rem's enormous amount of energy and asks if she is pregnant with a demon. Diablo cuts her off, and Rem wonders if Shira has been able to see her magical ability the entire time. Shira explains that she has, which is why she chose her as her adventure companion. Rem exits, saying she's glad Shira is such a moron. Diablo insists on them learning how to remove the collars. Diablo is told by the slave master that he must remove the slave collar through magical flow and physical contact. The plot progresses. There is a lot of plot development. Diablo discovers a thread and attempts to follow it deep within himself. As he unleashes his power, a magical energy fills the room. Diablo, according to Shira, is pouring into her. Gigti. Diablo reveals at night that he was unable to complete the ritual because the magical knots were extremely difficult to follow and he was unable to untie them. Diablo hears the sound of a flute outside and notices a young male elf standing there. As Shira's brother, the elf introduces himself. Diablo is furious and yells at him for placing a bounty on his sister's head. He tells him that he will never give Shira to him, but her brother simply says that he is relieved to see that his sister is in good health. He apologizes for the bounty, but Shira is not convinced. Her brother then asks if Shira wants to accompany him or stay with Diablo, and she says she wants to stay with Diablo. He says he will be polite and leave, but he will return tomorrow to politely ask again. If Shira still refuses to accompany him, he will simply never return or bother them again. Diablo believes Shira would never think such a thing. Shira stays up late at night talking with Rem and telling her about her dreams. She wants to open a cafe with them, where Rem would be the waitress and Diablo would be the server. Rem asks why they're in her dreams, and Shira says it's because they're her first friends here, and she treasures them. Rem apologizes for being unable to participate in her plan for the time being because she is dealing with a burden. They have fun with each other, and the poor demon lord is unable to sleep. Shira's brother sits on top of a tree in elf territory, playing his flute. He declares that Shira will be his again, and that she will bear his child. Diablo recalls a childhood dream in which two of his friends were playing a game with him and asked for stronger equipment. They called him his friend, and he came running the next day to play with them again. He only recently discovered that they were calling him a weird kid and that they were only using him to get his equipment. Rem and Alicia leave to report on their encounter, and Diablo begins to prepare a potion to ensure he is ready for what is to come. He hears the flute playing again in the distance as he speaks with Shira, and her mind appears to leave her body. She informs him that she will no longer be living with him and that she will be leaving the country. Shira boards a carriage with her brother, but Diablo does not question her. Instead, he goes to his bed, distraught over what has just occurred. What will become of Shira, who has been brainwashed? And what will happen to Rem, who carries the most powerful demon lord within her? This was it for today. Subscribe to my channel to watch more recaps.